Hi all, and welcome to this session. Our session is about the water park innovation. My name is Alan Mahony. I'm based in China, working with the Keystone Group. We're developing various water parks throughout China. All water parks will be IP related. And luckily with us today, we have Pauline. I'll pass it over to Pauline to introduce herself and her very exciting project.
Hi, my name is Pauline Ravry. I am a project manager at the Futuroscope in Poitiers, in France. Specifically, we are in charge of developing the park attraction, catering, or hotel. And I've been working at Futuroscope for almost 4 years now. My last big project was Aquascope, our water park.
Okay. Look, having a good look at your water park, and especially through the judging, it was very interesting. So I've got quite a few questions for you, and especially about the development. I think the first question is why did you go along this line of development that everything is very immersive? Everything there's just a lot of video, a lot of involvement, a lot of storytelling throughout the park in a very unique way. What made you head in that direction instead of, let's just say, a normal water park?
Yeah, exactly. It's not a normal water park. So first time, so as a project manager, our mission is to develop the Futuroscope park. When the idea of creating a water park was first broached, our role was initially to develop the concept before launching the construction of a project management team. So we turned to consulting firm who, with their wealth of experience, could be support us in this project, because we have never done a project like this before. And from the outset of this project, we want to develop a water park with Futuroscope DNA. Futuroscope DNA was for the image normally a different park with elements that visitor would never had seen before, and we want to give a visitor a change of scenery, taking them into an inventive world of total immersion. So for that, immersion for images is our trademark. So it was an obvious choice to showcase our expertise. I'm sorry, and our mission were to create a unique environment, telling the story of our mascot, Cracky. It's like a aquatic alien, like that. And so we team up with Moment Factory. It's a leading scenic design company. And together we image the space. And following this, our subsidiary FMD, it's Futuroscope Maintenance et Développement, made a technical proposal to make our possible intention. And this is how we decided to create an aquatic cinema, interactive flow. It's like when you walk into the water, elements move and evolve with your movement. I'm sorry. And we decided to create an immersive pool with a screen and fully mapped cavern. And it's the abyss of the light. The main,
Look,
yeah.
sorry, look, that I've gone through and studied it quite a lot, and the pool area with the screen was very, very interesting to me. Because what I can see is there's underwater effects, then the whole pool was fully immersed by a screen.
Yeah, exactly.
How big is that pool? How many people can be in that at one time? And can you tell me a little bit about the stories that you tell around and within that pool?
Okay. In the same time, you can have 50 people on the aquatic cinema. And the story is the story of our mascot Cracky, and
Yep.
it's when she arrived directly on the Earth,
Yep.
and she met a little submersive, and
Hmm.
it was just the story of two people and the friendship, and it's very easy to understand because it's no noise, just music, and
Yes.
everyone can understand the story, and it's very interactive experience because you have a water effects directly on the aquatic cinema with the bubbles and whirlpool directly in interaction with the screen. So it's very an immersive area,
Okay,
and
so
people
everyone is
love that.
very immersed during the whole period of the show, and because what I've seen of the video, it really got my attention. Especially within my own work, which I've been involved in developing a lot of parks, and I really believe, especially now they're starting to work with IPs, and it's very interesting how you've created your own and your own stories, but to be able to have guests immersed in these stories is super important for me moving forward, and I believe it's a big way that water parks will move forward. So it's very unique how you've done that. And your children's pool, it reminds me, I was involved with the Beijing Water Cube, which was an indoor park, which was where the Beijing Olympics were held, and we created this underwater environment, and the children's pool and the play structure was amazing with the lighting at night and the immersiveness. So it'd be very interesting to hear a little bit how your children's pool works with the lighting and the children's play, and is there a story involved with that as well?
Yeah. In normal water park, the kid area, it's like a garden or something like that. Here we
Hmm.
want to be directly on the water. So you have the Cracky
Yeah.
again, the mascot, and you have jellyfish, fish directly on the ceiling. So
Okay.
you are directly on the rift. You see on the directly on the water, and for the kids, it's very different because it's an immersion zone too, and it's just for the fun and understand what you have on the water.
Yeah, well, that as I said, that's very similar to what we did with this water park. That it was all meant to be underwater, so that's why it really took my attention. I think what the most incredible part is that it's only 6,000 square meters.
Yeah.
So it'd be a little bit interesting. Now we'll step into the slides next, because I've noticed that the slides start within the building, they move out of the building, they move back in, which is the best design to move in that way, which seems to work really well. So was the fact that you were limited in space, because 6,000 square meters is small for a water park. So is it the fact that you were limited? Is that what really pushed you for this decision to do an immersive experience, to try to get more of an experience within the limited space? And also, what numbers are you able to do during the day?
Yes, it's very small area. So you have three different area, and you can have in the same time you can have 1,700 and the same time in summer, and 1,600 on the winter, because you have a small space on the outside. It's indoor park, but you have a little silver pool and some garden directly outside. So you must to increase the number. But
look, I think that's very important, especially in Asia, in China. There was a big phase of a lot of indoor parks being built. But then also when you look at an outdoor park, like I was operating Chimelong Water Park, which is still the leading attended park today. It does 80% of its attendance during the 6 months of summer. So it's quite a big time and a good part of attendance. So what we found with the indoor water parks in China that were being built were only indoor, that they were getting too crowded in summer. So by expanding to a smaller, it didn't have to be much of an area, but putting some area outside allowed them to generate higher revenues in summer, but then still be able to operate all year, which is always work, which the parks that developed that way, but changed that way, found a lot of success in doing that.
Yeah, it's the same in France. You have more people just for the people go in the water park. It's for the summer, so it's not like an evidence if it's in the winter. So it's like that too in France.
Can you tell me a little bit about your slides? How many slides? Are they all ridden with rafts? I believe one is a drop slide. I think it'd be the drop slide would be very interesting. I think it's very exciting how you put the lighting into that, because the drop slides can tend to be, you have the drop, the next thing you're just being thrown around a water slide for the next 30 seconds. So it'd be very interesting how you've worked with these slides, put the immersiveness in, and how it is working for the customers.
So on our water park, we have 15 slides. We are 4 directly on the kids area.
Yes.
And we are 10 directly on the hub, the main part of the water park, because it's the building and the tower of slide. And you have a family slide, 2 family slide, one with a tube, big tube for 4 people.
Okay.
And you have a drop slide. We have 2 drop slides. One, the spiral. It's directly inside the tower. It's a translucent slide, so it was very impressive. And you have a sensation to the gravity directly. And after we have another, it drops directly on the outside river. And we have 2 racer, one mat racer and one tube racer, double tube and simple tube. And after we have directly a trap.
Yep.
The famous rocket. It's a trap.
Okay, you have a rocket as well. That's in. Now, how do you differentiate all the different stories? Are they all very unique? Is every story with every ride a very unique and different story, or are they all intertwined together?
No. Each are a different story. And always around the intention of immersion, experiential, sensation, immersive.
Now, is the story the same? Is the effects the exact same every time I ride the same ride, or it does change? It's a little bit different.
No, it's the same.
It's the same. Okay. And what has been your most successful attraction?
I think it's the Abyss of Light. and because it's the best and the different area and visitor never seen before.
Okay.
So the abyss of the light, and for the slide, I think it's a matrix of a family rider when we are 4 on the tube, because it's fun and the people want to play and fun and with the family. So it's very, very, very cool.
Look, there's no doubt about that. And my experience has always been, and especially as the water park industry is growing, the water park industry started as water slides that people sat on with water. Then people sat on a mat. Then tubes were introduced. Then double tubes were introduced. Then, we went through the big free falls, which were this next generation. But what I've always found is when people can ride together, the ride is much more popular. And especially if you've got something immersive. If I'm sitting there with 4 friends, I'm looking at my friends and something's happening, I'm more immersed in that attraction and more immersed with friends. It's the same as even when you go to theme parks and you walk into Harry Potter's world with Universal or Star Wars with Disney. It's doing that experience with friends and talking to friends and looking at things and enjoying that. It is so much. And it's just interesting that you've said that your most 2 popular attractions, your most popular ride is the one where 4 people ride together, and your most popular attraction is where people are as a group and they can talk and experience. So it's good to hear that. Any more further comments you have on that would be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm totally agree with that. I think it's very interesting to develop interactive slide, but interactive slide with some people together, just to share a moment together. I think it's the best direction for water park.
So how do you see this as a trend moving forward? Do you see this as something that all water parks need to do, certain water parks depending upon your market? How do you see the innovation that you brought to the industry? How do you see that growing throughout the industry worldwide?
The water park market is constantly evolving. But when we were designing our water park, Aquascope, we had to change to meet with a number of water park operators, and we discover that the boundaries are always being pushed back, and whether it's in terms of sensation with a slide are ever higher and faster. Optimization with a combined slide, so like a puzzle, like in a Futuroscope, it's like a puzzle, or technology proves, or with addition VR helmet, or in tube, or directly underwater, like in Rolantica, you see? Or even in terms of the aesthetic of this installation with a theme slide. It's not like a yellow or green or red slide. So you can directly print a pattern directly on the slide. So it's very, the technology increase with the time. In short, the world of water park is evolving, I think, day by day. And maybe the new technology is the biggest change for that, because the VR is everywhere. Very important. Yeah.
I think my final questions are: what challenges have you come across?
A lot of challenges.
What challenges have you had? Problems because it's new technology, or everything's run perfectly, everything's smooth?
Yeah.
Has there been any challenges?
Yeah, in the Futuroscope and in this Aquascope, it's a collection of many challenges, tight deadline, because it's very short, 18 months. It's very, very short for this park aquatic. It's a little park aquatic, but it's a big water park. Little water park. It's an unfamiliar environment. I'm a project manager, but I'm a build project manager. So the water of everything around the water, it's new for me. A lot of technological innovation, because we add images, mapping and everything directly in the water. So it was weird and it was complicated. And after the areas, the abyss of light, have been completely designed to immerse a visitor even further. So it was a challenge too. Many challenges when you say for this project.
Okay. I think from a project, I have one last question. As from a project management side point of view, where do you see the next step? Do you see that you need to redo the immersiveness in the rides and the attractions, or is there a certain time that you'll have to relook at storytelling, adding new stories? What's your thoughts there?
In fact, we only just opened last July, but of course, we are thinking about what's next. Maybe some improvements, like attraction, new slide. Why not a new media for the Abyss of Light, or even an extension? We will see. It's in project and it's a secret for now.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Pauline, for your time. And it's, you know, from personally, it was a very exciting project to have a look at. And I look forward to coming and visiting for sure. It's very exciting, especially, you know, the water park. You know, we see a lot of things happening now globally. You see a lot of things happening in the Middle East, and you know, everything is big. And I think what you've done with, you know, 6,000 square meter and added the immersive is really something that everyone can look at and study, and even these big parks moving forward. And I definitely know that parks that I'm developing right now that will be looking at this kind of technology and ride experiences. And thank you very much, Pauline.
Thank you for your attention.
So thank you, Alan, for talking with Pauline there. That was really interesting. And I just really want to kind of pick up on some of the things that you were talking to her about, particularly with kind of the use of IP within water parks. So what experience have you got with how water parks are bringing in new IPs at the moment?
Yeah, it's an area that we're looking at in China right now, which is very interesting. Is the addition of IPs and exactly how to produce them into storytelling. We're moving forward with some of the world's leading designers, park designers, to really work at this, and you know, and park designers that have worked with the big players within the theme park industry. As you'll see, even when you have a look at the parks that have been done by the leading companies, a water park has still tended to be a water park. They've added a volcano, added a story around a volcano, but it's never really gone into the movies or their characters, apart from appearances. Who, you know, when the characters come into those parks, but they tend not to come into the water parks as much as they do the theme parks. So what we're seeing in China is a strong interest in IPs, and how we blend that experience is very challenging. And that's why it was very interesting to have a look at what they've done at Aquascope and how they've blended their own story into that. because it's the IPs that we'll be using. We're using some very strong IPs. Some are very children related. And if you're looking at a children related experience, we're trying to change the water park development to be very, very different to that experience. So the rides, we're looking at some immersiveness in that ride to really give the children more excitement, the family more telling. But then more important, we need to put those stories into shows and attractions. My work before at Atlantis, Sonia, we had a lot of success in doing shows at night, various forms of entertainment from, in all ways. And now where you can go with video mapping, what we're looking at is we need to put that into the design from day one. And a lot of our water parks will be part of a hotel, part of a resort. So we really want those resort rooms to be looking back down onto that entertainment as well, and that video mapping, whatever way we might go. Like, again, when you look at the Chinese market and you look at the success of Shanghai Disney now, which is just, it's booming. They've added the new Utopia Land, which is so successful. It's a very storytelling experience that the Chinese relate to. And then, of course, the video mapping on what is the world's the biggest castle for Disney in the world is amazing, that experience at night. So how to look at that success and bring that into a water park, it's challenging. And right now there's no answers. Hopefully when we open up our first park in a few years' time, we will have some very strong answers and we'll know by the experience. But, again, when you head back to Atlantis, the most popular rides, and I think we touched base on this a little bit in talking with Pauline, was the rides where people ride together are always much, much more exciting. But what we also had, we had a ride that went through the aquarium. So the fact that it immersed you through the aquarium, plus we didn't do it on single tubes, we only did it on double tubes, and we designed special tubes that young kids could sit on, and we could also bring down the height limit and the age limit for that attraction. What we found was, with that being an immersive attraction, it was the #1 attraction in the park. So when you've experienced that as an operator, it's very exciting moving forward. And yeah, we, as a company with Keystone, we believe the way forward is working with the IPs, immersing that into these water park experiences.
I think it's really interesting, as you say, that, particularly in the China market, the success of Disney just really shows, I guess, everyone else in China what they can do. And I think, as you say, challenging to bring that sort of idea to a water park. But I think water parks can only be improved by taking some kind of key lessons and learning some other areas of the attractions industry, because I think at the heart, it's the same visitors. People want the same sort of experience, don't they? And I think what's interesting when listening to Pauline, but also, when you look at other European water parks like Atlantica, both of those have created their own IP. So do you think in China, are you working, do you think, with existing IPs, or do you think there's space for water parks to create their own IPs and stories as well?
You can definitely create your own story as well. Like if you look at Chimelong, and I was very lucky to be involved with Chimelong, which is still the highest attended park globally today. Chimelong built their own brand, but what they built it around was entertainment. When we launched the stage and the shows and brought people into the pool for the entertainment, the shows, it was spectacular. And it's interesting. I spent a lot of time introducing this at IAPA shows, but globally, I'm still surprised that people are still just opening water parks daytime, closing them, and water slides, burgers, and hot dogs. There's so much more creative ideas that can, and especially working with your marketing team, bringing in the right people who can put on the right performance. So what we found by performance, to give you an example of Chimelong Water Park, we were operating 25,000 to 30,000 people a day, which are phenomenal numbers. We wanted to look more, how do we generate more revenue? And we went into the nighttime trading. But when we did nighttime trading, we just didn't put in lights. We put in serious entertainment. And again, we had success with that in Atlantis. So what that showed is, especially with the Chinese market, and I believe it should be the global market, is people are looking at not just a water park experience. You've got, where else can you stand in 1 foot of water and watch entertainment, splash water with your friends? And it's a whole new way to have a DJ, to watch fireworks, to see projection mapping, to see drone shows. Like there's so much out there. Like Atlantis now is having a lot of success with drone shows. And at Chimelong, we based everything on music, lighting, performances in the water. So yeah, so that's how we used our own brand. But I do believe there's a strong area for IPs, because especially what we found in China, brands don't last long. I left China, I came back, and the popular brands there were, they haven't lasted as long. But China has a real drive and a love for the international IPs. Of course, the big American IPs, but the Japanese IPs as well. The Korean singers. There's so much influence that is an IP, and it's very important to bring it in, understand what your market's looking for. So we as a group here believe now that international IP is very strong. And again, it comes back to how will we immerse that into a water park? Because a water park it's tricky, but not really. It's still the same thing. It's entertainment. You just can't build that big building and go into a very immersive ride that the Universals and Disney's may do. So how do we turn that into the attractions? But still, we can do it through entertainment, projection mapping, as I said, drones. There's so many forms of spectacular entertainment that will bring people. And the reality is, most of that needs to be done at night.
Yeah. And do you think the Chinese market, do you think the guests have any kind of different expectations from a water park to other areas that you've worked?
It's more, they stick together. Like,
okay.
to get to the basics, let's say a normal Western water park, you can have a ride over there, this over there, the family find a spot, the kids go there, the parents go there. In China, the family stays together. They will never, ever let their children run off. So, that's really important with how you're designing the kids' pool, the wave pool, the general activities, how you relate that to food. And all of these thoughts need to go into pre-conceptual design. It's very important, because if it isn't, you're going to have a lot of problems. The Asian market turn up very differently. They're not turning up in a pair of board shorts and a singlet or a summer's dress. They tend to be much more dressed up. A shower afterwards, the change rooms, the amount of lockers. They mightn't sound much, but it's a very big difference that needs to go into designs. Are Chinese more prone to night entertainment? It's hard to say, because I just haven't seen it done anywhere globally. No one else is doing it, and it's very successful in China. So I don't believe that we're doing that because the Chinese people like that. I believe that we're doing that because we believe that's the best way to move water parks forward and the best way to generate more revenue. So, I'm sure if you had parks, especially the Middle East, because the Middle East, the heat, the nighttime trading is going to be important. My time in the Middle East, I saw that the people really like to be entertained. They like to have fun. So, a water park doesn't just have to be water slides. There's so much more to it.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to see, as you say, kind of what the Middle East are going to be doing, because I think they're just pushing the boundaries on everything that they're working on at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with water parks as well. And hopefully the rest of the world as well, maybe take a leaf out of China's book and sort of, do some nighttime entertainment at water parks. I think it's a really great idea.
Yeah, it makes sense with the area. Like when we were chatting, when I first looked at that park, it was very similar to what we did with the Beijing Water Cube, that it was Beijing Water Cube. It sort of came alive at night because it was an underwater experience. And we worked with Forec, and they did an amazing job on putting that together. It was quite interesting when I heard Pauline talk about jellyfish. ours was based on jellyfish because it gives you the colors and the glowing. And when I saw their kids' pool, it was very similar to our children's pool experience that we did years back. So it was very interesting to see that. But what really got my attention was their pool, that things are happening under the water, things are happening on the walls around you, and that's very exciting. You can maybe even blend attractions into that, and even take that a step further. So it's very exciting where that's gone. And and what I did see, it tended to be also that they tend to have a stronger visualization for night trading as well.
Interesting. Well, it sounds like it's a really exciting time, not just, for your company, but for kind of the China market in general. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what comes out of that region, and hopefully there are some interesting innovations that the rest of the world might pick up on as well. So thank you for talking to us about that. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Alice. It's always great to chat with you guys, and it's very good that blooloop put on the Innovation Awards again, and it's always such a success.
Yeah, no, we love having you. Thank you for sharing your expertise. Thank you for everyone watching as well. And we will reveal the winners of the splash category next. So stay tuned. Thanks, Alan.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
And now the winners of the 2024 blooloop Innovation Awards splash category. Third place, Montgomery Whitewater from S2O Design Caliber Engineering. Second place, Category 6 Water Park Icon of the Seas from Royal Caribbean International. And first place, Safer the Ultimate Dueling Rocket Blast Water Coaster from ProSlide Technology. Congratulations to all of the winners.